Hey guys, Jeff with Wisconsin RC Construction. Back on the Huina dump truck build. Version 1, I pretty much got complete. Am I happy with it? No. So we got torn down to version 2. Let's take a look at that. So, version 2, I had to tear it all down. I had to bring the chassis down to its bare frames. I ended up having to remove the rear suspension carriage, and I'm actually removing the whole spring set that's going along in the front assembly. This is the front mount that is made to hold and to sit onto the actual Huina frame when you remove it. There's two screws you can mount to it, so I made a nice little mounting plate so I can have a nice secured spot. The problem I'm having is it sits too high as we speak. Now it sits too high because you're using the spring carriage, you're using the lift on the axles, the tires, and then by the time you actually get set down into it, it sits way too high. I'm not pleased with it, so I tore it all back apart. Gonna start over. New idea. New whole transmission set too. I wasn't happy with the performance I was getting out of the 2-speed transmission. I was getting a lot of binding going from first, and it wasn't staying in second gear. That's a problem. So I also noticed that WPL has sometimes have gone out and done the slip fittings on their axles. That's a problem. I'm not happy with that design. I prefer the fixed set screw version type. Luckily I do have a bunch of spare parts, and I'm going to be switching out all of my pinion cases and axle housings to that because I don't want the issue. And like, here's some of it. It goes smooth, and then I got a click and a bind in this one. But this one does roll smooth, but it's that pressed on fitting. So if this fitting ever does come loose on here, it's a little spline, and I think they just heat it up and put it on, and that's all it's holding it is friction. It's not like the set screw versions. So the 2-speed transmission right here, I'm not happy with the gear meshing. It's very quick, don't get me wrong. I think it would be great in another application. It sits up too high for where I had to have the truck up higher, and that kind of snowballed everything. So for me, I'm going, and I went back and changed it out. I have a 380 gear reduction, and I have some metal shafts. The plastic shafts were causing an issue with this, so on the 2-speed I did have some metal shafts that we were going to upgrade to on the Huina. So we will have metal shafts on the Huina. It's going to be changed out to the single speed, although I don't think the single speed was really meant for this type of a frame because of the issue with the case on the transmission there. It doesn't stick out far enough, and this is too close. So I've been actually notching out, I don't know if you can catch that, maybe it's too bright. I'm notching out the channel in the frame, making a flat spot right there, so I have room for that case to hump over. Will that make the frame weaker? Yes, in that spot. Am I worried about it? No, because I'm mounting 2 screws on each side of it, and I will actually be mounting the back part of this frame rail to the actual dump truck. So that's only going to make it weaker from a side-to-side aspect. The up and down, when you put your load in, it's not going to put any more stress on it that way. So I have a 6-channel from FlySky in there. I'm using the i6S. I've come to realize I need more than 6 channels. I can't get the lights to turn on. I can't get a lot of things to work right. I do need to change a speed controller. The little blister pack ones, I have one that reverse doesn't go in, so obviously that's got to get swapped out. I'm actually just going to be putting in a 1625 for the drive motor on it, because I am going to be using now the gear reduction motor, which will run a little, probably need a little more juice than the 2-speed. And I'll use the blister pack still for the dump. The dump's going to be on that little rotary dial on the side, and I need room for lights. So I have cab light already done. Let's get some more light out of the way. There we go. How's that for you guys? That's even worse. How's that? There we go. Now I'm worse. Let's get that light back there. That's better. So I do have a little light on the top of there, and I do have lights. I did get all the lights wired in. So we do have the headlights that work. Now, the stock Huina lights are 3-volt LEDs. I did change these out to the 12-volt LEDs and a little electronic switch that I'm running. I also, in the back, same thing. We have a red LED in each corner, and I also do have a trailer connection wire so I can light up any of my trailers. My trailers are pretty much all wired and lit up the same way with the same LEDs. I just use that red JST connection on it. The wall I built on there is really nice. It adds support for my radio stuff and all my stuff behind it. I can zip tie this, tie it all up, push it back behind it, and it'll still leave a nice spot for your battery up front. I will be running like a 2000 milliamp, maybe a little larger one in this one if I can find something, because when you do take the front of this cab off, you do actually have some pretty nice room to slip that underneath. And the lights, this does come all the way down, so when you do take this apart, make sure you don't ruin this. There is some lights down here. Keep that plastic nice and clean, because they will cover up on the LEDs. So I have some more work ahead of me. I do need this truck done before Cabin Fever in February. So yeah, I already ordered new parts. They should be here in a couple of days. I am changing, the axles are going to be hard mounted to the brooder frame itself. So onto here, I will be actually dropping the axles on it. Instead of mounting the axle perches on a spring, they will actually be mounted directly to this. So I will be bolting them solid to the frame. Same with the front. And you're wondering about the steering servo then that you have in there. Well, WPL, I don't know if it's WPL, but there's another company that actually makes a bracket to take your steering servo and mounts it right on your axle truss. So that's what's going to be done. We're going to put a steering servo right on the axle truss. That should alleviate a lot of those issues. That will not cause any problem with the drag link here. That may cause me a little issue with the steering arm, but I got enough parts I can figure that one out. That's the least of my concerns. The biggest thing is getting this thing down to a more realistic lower center of gravity. I did add the metal leaf springs in here, so it is very, very stiff now. She doesn't flex like she used to. This was just temporarily on. Little 2 dabs of hot glue. And then I'm going to get a final gluing position, and I'm going to run some screws through that one. But that's the bracket that you're going to want for the front of this thing. A little T-bar. I do have it bolted to the side, so the whole thing is removable, nice and flat up here, and I'll glue that to the other one. The transmission will get mounted in here just as well, just like something about like that. It gets flushed in there, kind of nice. The metal shafts come with this transmission kit, so it is kind of nice. I don't have to worry about the metal shafts at all anymore. I don't have to worry about the plastic ones. I can use the metal ones, and we can all be fine and dandy, and I don't have to worry that I'm going to break something. So that is pretty much where we're at right now. I know I didn't show you guys the all lifted up version, all jacked up. It just had too many problems with it. The lights worked great. To hook up a trailer, I had to lift it up, so I haven't even mounted my trailer hitch on here yet, because I'm hoping when I lower it down, I'm hoping to get about an inch more down, which will lower my center of gravity, which means I'd have to raise my trailer hitch up a little bit more. This one's gonna be pulling probably a 3D printed trailer designed by Robert Waring. I have one built currently. I'm working on putting another one together. My 3D printer, the Bowden tube, just clogged up on me, so I got a new one coming in. So I do need to finish printing that trailer out. That's going to take me some time to get done. There's a lot of little bits and pieces to go with that. I do have the slew of Lego tires to go with it, because that trailer is actually going to be a quad axle trailer, and the way it's set up, it should be, the wheels will be close enough together, far enough back that I'm not worried about them being so spread out. It's that those trailers don't hold a lot of weight. It'll hold a skid steer though. It'll hold one of the Bruder skid steers. I have parts in to finish up the wheeled skid loader too. Those should be here. Actually, they say later today. And yes, today is Sunday. So I'm hoping to get those so I can get started on that this week. The lift mechanism for that one's going to be from Magum. So I bought their part of their kit to do the lift arm. And yeah. So that's about where we're at. I do still have a ton of stuff I'm taking with me. Nothing's really changed. The dump truck is probably the biggest thing that I do need to finish before Cabin Fever, and I want to get that done actually before the end of the year. So my guess is I'm going to be wrapping this thing up in probably the next couple of weeks. I do have the paint picked out for the Dodge Ram that I'm going to be taking to Cabin Fever. We do have it all torn apart. I have it all stripped down. We have all stripped down. It's got to be washed. It's got to be cleaned. And I have the red, or not red, I have green. I have the Tamiya lime green paint. So that should actually look really sharp. New radio system coming for that. That should be here today as well. Servo, I have a 1625 speed controller, and I think I still have a full light kit in the cabinet, so we should be good to go with everything. That will be another project that I need done before Cabin Fever. Same with redoing my whole excavator, all the electronics in it. The remote's getting replaced actually, so that should be a whole project coming up upon itself. That one probably won't get filmed as much as I'd like with the excavator. I am taking that in to have some programming done to it. That is getting put on a FlySky Tyrannus, so I'm having somebody local do the programming for me. So other than that, guys, that's pretty much it. That's been the weekend update build. Like I said, we got a lot of parts coming in. I wish I would have taken a picture for you of the Huina as it sits now, or as it did sit before I tore everything back apart. But I did find a lot of issues, especially in the driveline with the splined axles. I wasn't happy with those. I had a problem with one of those, so I had to switch that out. It just progressively showed more faces. So that's pretty much it. Hope to see you guys on the next build video. And I want to see what you guys are building. Post up on my Facebook page, Wisconsin RC Construction. And remember to please like and subscribe to this page to get all your future updates on the build. Thank you. Have a great one.